Hey beautiful learners, welcome back to our series Thôi Tà Dạch, Sua Mề Xà. And if you're new around, I'm Cherry from Rap Academy. I'm so excited to have you guys for today. We have got an epic episode lined up, and so grab your favorite snack, get comfortable, and let's dive in. The topic for today is how to get medical license.
Hi everyone, moi! My name is Sharlen and I'm a practical nurse from Finland. Today I'm gonna talk to you about medical license in Finland, or medical administration rights in Finland. So what are medical licenses, or in Finnish Lääkeluvat, and how does one get them? So in Finland, a practical nurse or any healthcare worker cannot touch medication or do anything medications related if you don't have the medication license. So even if you are a licensed nurse, it doesn't mean you automatically get the medical license. You have to get them separately, and the medications license are required for any healthcare workers that work with medications, and they are required to give medications safely and also legally. Without the Lääkeluvat, you cannot be in any contact with patients' medications. You can get the medical license after you graduate as a nurse, or in some cases also when you have completed enough of your studies as a healthcare worker, so as a practical nurse or registered nurse. You can also get them, but it's only a partial license. And with the partial rights, you can give medication in natural ways, so oral or topical, but you cannot be responsible for patients' medication or give them, for example, injections. So who can grant you medical license when you are a healthcare worker? So usually these rights are granted by a healthcare organization or your employer, but you need to go through theoretical exam, and you have to prove your knowledge in theoretical, and also you have to show your skills. So you have to demonstrate your competence in the practical skills, for example, giving injections or just giving orally medications topically. There is, in the medical license, there are different tasks that you need to do, and then a healthcare worker, usually it's registered nurse who has the medical license, who will do the assessment that you give the injections or whatever, that you do it right. And after that, when you have shown them that you can do it right and correctly, they must give their autograph to these medical license papers. So you have to do each step correctly. And for example, in my medical license, I have to do all the steps 3 times to prove I can do it. So for example, giving medications orally, I have to do it 3 different times. And the registered nurse has to give the autograph 3 times and has to administer that I have done it. Also, a part of the theoretical knowledge, it is important to know about the Finnish laws and requirements about medications and to be familiar with them. Knowledge you have to have is understanding the basic principles of pharmacology, knowing about medications, how they work, how possible side effects and interactions. It's all that you have to know before you get the license. Then more about the practical skills you have to learn and know before you get the medical license. The practical skills include correctly preparing and administrating medications, including oral, injectable and topical forms. And also you have to accurate the dosage calculations to ensure patient safety. It's important to maintain sterile techniques and following the hygiene protocols. Then when you have learned your theoretical and practical skills, then we have the competence assessment, which I already talked about, but so it includes passing on written or digital tests on Pharmalogica, completing the practical demonstrations, such as administration, for example, injections under supervision. And then you also have to do regular reassessments to maintain the medical license. So they are after every 5 years, you have to do it all over again to maintain the rights. And usually there are different separate exams for like medicational calculations is separately, and then there is like this theoretical knowledge about medications and etc. are separately. So you take about at least 3 different exams to get the license. After you have completed your exams successfully and done your practical demonstrations, you are granted the medical license, and that means you can dispense and administer medications prescribed by a doctor. You can monitor patients for side effects of the medications and also document medication administration accurately, handle and store medications accordingly to organizations' guidelines, and also use specific routes of administration. So, for example, oral, intravenous, subcutaneous, so injections, topicals, etc. Usually we don't get to do intramuscular, so no injections to the muscles, but you can also get them as an add-on to your medical license. So, for example, I have got my medical license back in 2022, but I'm doing the intramuscular license now. You can add on things to your medical license if it's supported by the organization's guidelines. So the medicational license and what you can do with them, it really depends on the scope of your training and also the specific rights that are granted to you. So there are different options, and not everyone's medical license is the same. So if you're working as a healthcare worker, in example in elderly care, it's not necessary always that you have a medical license. If a healthcare worker, for example a practical nurse, don't have their medical licenses, they can still work as a nurse in, for example, elderly care, but they just can't be in any contact with patients' medications. So if a healthcare worker don't have their medical licenses, they can still work in Finland, for example in an elderly care home, but they usually take a percentage of your pay for that if you don't have the licenses. But they also usually give you some time to complete the medical license. So usually your employer gives you time, for example like 2 months to complete them, but you can still work normally. So if you don't have your license and you are in some contact with the patient's medication and, for example, give wrong medication to a wrong patient and something happens, it has consequences because it's illegal. So it might be, in some cases, if it's very serious, it might lead to even taking your right to work as a nurse. So it's very serious, and it's very strict in here that if you don't have the license, you cannot be in any contact with the medication. The medical license boosts patient safety by ensuring that the medical staff or the healthcare workers who give out medications, that it is safe and it's legal and it is done correctly. So it ensures the patient's safety, and also it protects the healthcare workers. When there is a medical error, so you give, for example, you give wrong medication to a wrong patient or something like that, we have this HiPro system. So then we write out what has happened, to whom, when, where. It's very specific. You have to fill out this form, and then the form, when you have filled it out, it goes to your employer and also your healthcare organization workers. Then we go through what has happened and how we can make sure that it doesn't happen again. So we have these protocols, what to do when something like this happens. And if a healthcare worker who has their medical license, if there are many errors occurring, it might lead to that you have to renew your medical license. So you have to do it all over again to make sure that you know what you're doing and to get your medical license back. So shortly about the medical license, it's very important here in Finland, in the medical field, in all healthcare workers working. It's a very important thing in the Finnish medical system. It makes sure of patient safety and also protects the healthcare workers. Also, in my opinion, it's great that we have this system. It helps many and it gives you a lot of knowledge, and also you get to practice some practical skills and you get a lot of theoretical knowledge before you have to, for example, give injections. So it also gives you a lot more confidence in what you are doing with the medications, because you know about them and you know how to make it and you know how to give them correctly and safely. But that's all for today. Thank you for watching and learning with me, and we will see you in the next video. Kiitos, moi moi!
Alright, my awesome friends, that's it for today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our code. Stay amazing, curious, and I will catch you in the next video. Until then, peace out. Moi moi!